means in the stomach of Atma, means is within the Atma. In the center, in the Atma. The Atma alone is the whole person. Not that this all perception behind it, is Atma. Aisa nahi. It's like saying clay is behind pot. Clay is not behind pot. The whole pot is clay. So the whole potness is within the limits of clay. Can potness exist beyond the limits of clayness? Potness is within the clayness. Therefore, perception is within Atma. Atma is the whole realm of perception. Anyway, yedetat shrotrad upalabdhi nimittam shrotradi shrotrasya shrotram, as the ear of the ear, adi lakshanam is lakshanavali Atma. The Atma which is the ear of the ear, meaning what, which is the nimittam behind perception, nitya upalabdhi swarupam, which is of the nature of pure consciousness, which has no beginning and end, because consciousness is Atma, is not a situation. Perception is a situation, but Atma is not a situation. Therefore, death is what? Situation. For a situation. Death means an end of a situation. Life itself is what? A situation comes to an end. Atma doesn't end, situation ends. अवस्था का अंत होता है, आत्मा का अंत नहीं होता है. जिसमें अवस्था का लय होता है उसका लय नहीं होता है. जिसमें उत्पन्न होता है वो उत्पन्न नहीं होता है. That is why it says nityopalabdhi swarupam nirvisheshamatram. Nirvishesham, which is free from all adjectives. Free from adjectives means what? Free from all physical qualities. Atma tattvam, the truth, the Atma. Tad buddhva, us Atma ko buddhva, understanding the Atma as the nityopalabdhi swarupaha nityaha nirvisheshaha iti buddhva, having understood. Atimuchya means having become free. Free from what? Anavabodha nimitta adhyaropitat. Having understood Atma, you become free from something. From what? See the clarity of Shankara. You become free from the error about Atma. Bas. When you come to know the fact, what do you become free from? उसको ना जानना खत्म होता है, wrongly जानना खत्म होता है. जब एक वस्तु को जानते हैं, क्या खत्म होता है? ना जानना खत्म होता है और wrongly जानना खत्म होता है. और कुछ है जो खत्म होता है? हाँ, होता है जो wrongly जानने से जो दुख होता है वो भी खत्म होता है. That means what? By knowing a vastu, a situation of no knowledge comes to an end, and a situation of wrong knowledge comes to an end. That is what is called anavabodha nimitta. Anavabodha nimitta, due to absence of knowledge. Adhyaropitat, from the error. Having become free from the error, adhyaropita means the error. Having become free from the error which is there due to the absence of knowledge. Anavabodha means, absence of knowledge. Avabodha means presence of knowledge. Anavabodha means absence of knowledge. Therefore, the error about the self which is there due to the absence of knowledge, from that error, atimuchya, having become free. Buddhyadi lakshanat sansarat. From the sansara, which is nothing but a pratyaya, buddhyadi lakshanat. To have a thought, to have aham pratyaya vishayaha, to have the perception, to have the deha, to be the deha, to be the perceiver, to be the thinker, to be an individual. This is all what is called buddhyadi lakshanat sansarat, means from individuality, from jivatvam sansarat, mokshanam kritva, having become free. Having become free from the adhyaropa about myself as an individual, that I am a jiva is called adhyaropa. I am a jiva is a misunderstanding about myself, the Paramatma. परमात्मा और कुछ नहीं. चक्कर में कौन है अभी? परमात्मा चक्कर में है, जीवात्मा नहीं है. जीवात्मा होना ही चक्कर है परमात्मा को, है ना. जीवात्मा doesn't have the chakkar. Paramatma has the chakkar of looking at itself as Jivatma. Like even, does the dreamer have the problem or you have the problem of being a dreamer? You have the problem of being the dreamer. So the dreamerness comes to an end, but Atmatvam does not come to an end. You see? Atma, the being who survives the very death of dreamerness, has the problem of looking at itself as a dreamer. Please understand. It is not the false that has the problem. It is the truth that has the problem of taking itself to be jiva, the false. The truth has the problem of taking itself to be jiva. It is the Parameshwara straight that looks at itself as jiva. You are not a jiva. Parameshwara as the jiva is the jiva. Parameshwara, Paramatma as the jiva is the jiva. Like Rajju as a sarpa is the sarpa. What is sarpa? Rajju as the sarpa, taken as the sarpa. Rajju taken as sarpa is the sarpa. That is the definition of sarpa. What is Rajju sarpa? Rajju taken as sarpa is sarpa. Paramatma taken as jivatma is jivatma. And therefore here, mokshanam kritva dhiraha, having become free from the adhyaropitam, called jivatvam, which is born of the non-recognition of oneself. Dhiraha, wise men, dhimantaha, wise men, real thinking people, for whom what happens in the world doesn't matter at all, for whom what matters is the tattvam of everything, not a given event. That is the difference between the ordinary and out of the ordinary. To be an ordinary person means what? To get occupied with things and happenings in the world. To be ordinary, to be out of the ordinary means he is not worried about what happens in the world and what things are there. The world as a whole. The situation, the one who questions the situation is a thinker. The basic situation of myself finding myself as a jiva. That is very difficult. You never ask that question. You always say, ये तो इसका कोई समाधान मिलता नहीं है, इसके बारे में सोचने से आदमी will go nuts. Therefore, the best thing is don't open the topic of this basic situation. You just make your life more comfortable and live and go away. Why nobody let others? It's all for the philosophers. हम लोग तो ऐसे संसारी लोग हैं, हम philosophers कहाँ? And means words clearly not available for Vedanta ityartha. Pretya asmal lokati, having left this body, pretya means viyujya, having become free from the body. Anyasmin, in another body, apratisandhiyamane, when the next body is not there, nirnimittatvat, there being no reason for the re-embodiment, amrita bhavanti, become eternal. That means what? Having falsified one's own bhranti about oneself and there being no reason for the next embodiment, becomes freed from all embodiments, stand as absolute. Having become freed from the jivatvam, stands as absolute. Amritaha bhavanti means what? Already to amrita hai, negation of embodiment. This embodiment, next embodiment, series of embodiments comes to an end. That is the ending up. Therefore, we do not say that really another embodiment does not scare Hindus. is not the embodiment that's case. When we say embodiment, we mean adhyasa. We don't look upon a given embodiment as the problem. We look upon the adhyasa as the problem, in which adhyasa there is series of embodiments. This is also not understood by the Westerners, because they don't come to the right people. They just pick up the thoughts, and all the thoughts they pick up are all Purvapakshi thoughts. We throw out the thoughts. The essential thoughts they don't pick up. We are not scared of a given embodiment. It is not that we protest against embodiment. We say the problem is not embodiment, the problem is adhyasa, due to which there is embodiment. Therefore, the problem is tackled, embodiment also is tackled. Hindus are always, they hate life. Life, they don't want to come back into life. They want to be free from life. That is what they think. It's not that we hate life or love life. We only say we love eternity and we don't like non-eternity. We don't like problem, adhyasa, confusion. We only say this is a confusion. You resolve it, and then you are free from the problem. You are eternal, because eternity is your swarup. Therefore, the problem is much deeper. The Vedanta vision is much deeper than it is thought of by the Westerners, please. More of it we'll see later on. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Vahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shrutismati Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritav Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha. So, Pretyasmal lokad amrita bhavanti. So, having known the Atma, which is the Chakshu of the Chakshu, Shrotrasya Shrotram, the ear of the ear, the eye of the eye, the prana of the prana, the mind, manasaha, manaha, manaso, manaha, chakshusas, chakshuhu, shrotrasya, shrotram, pranasya, pranaha. So, having known the Atma as the truth of all the sense organs, amrita bhavanti, pretyasma lokad amrita bhavanti. Well, having become free from the bhranti, because there is nothing to become free from. There is only one thing which man can become free from, and that is his own bhranti about himself. We don't become free from the prapancha as an entity. Prapancha is not there, only there is a bhranti that there is prapancha. Therefore, freedom is never from the prapancha. Freedom is not from the objects. Freedom is from the bhranti. Like a person who is a drunkard, he sees his own prapancha in his own mind. He need not become free from the prapancha that he sees. He has to become free from the spell. So once he is free from the spell, he is also free from the prapancha. Because the prapancha that is seen is within the spell. Therefore, pretyasmal lokat means all these things should be taken as having become free from the bhranti. Amrita bhavanti means they become eternal. They stand eternal, meaning become free from the punarjanma. So the re-embodiment. Continuity in bhranti is gone. Continuity of embodiments is gone. When there is freedom from bhranti, then there is freedom from all that was happening within bhranti. Every embodiment was within Bhranti. That is what is called Amritatvam. Amritatvam does not mean becoming eternal in the world. Amritatvam does not mean becoming eternal and immortal in the world. Becoming eternal in the world is called Bhranti. Getting stuck in the bond is like becoming eternal in the prison. So eternity in the prison is not desirable. Eternity in the prison is not desirable. Freedom from prison is called eternity. Freedom from the Bhranti. So what is it really that one can become free from? What is it that one should become free from, and what is it that one can become free from? One can become free from and one should become free from only a misunderstanding about himself. Which misunderstanding is not born in this life? Which misunderstanding is anadi, because of which misunderstanding is the very life. Misunderstanding is not an event in life, please. People say that you have made a mistake. Means what? As though after embodiment one makes a mistake. After embodiment is not the mistake, it is due to the mistake that is the embodiment is there. Embodiment is there due to mistake. That mistake is not committed by oneself. That mistake I find myself with. It is a Bhranti, is not made by the will. It's not a mistake that is made by mind, because mind itself exists due to the mistake. Therefore, the mistake is not made by the mind. The mistake is there even behind the mind. When the mind is, there is a mistake. When the mind is quiet, then also there is a mistake. Therefore, the creation of the perception of the world is within mistake. The resolution of the world is also within mistake. Therefore, there is mistake in the Jagrati is due to mistake, Swapna is due to mistake, Sushupti also is due to mistake alone. Everything is, all the three avasthas. I have got three avasthas. I have got birth and death, and I am subject to various kinds of pleasures and pains, is all in the mistake. And that mistake is not made in the embodiment, because embodiment itself is due to the mistake, and that mistake is anadi. It is not in time. It's not come in time, because time itself is in the mistake. Time is seen in the mistake. This mistake is what we call adhyasaha, bhrantihi. Mistake is a very simple word. Generally we use this word mistake for a small things. This is not an ordinary mistake. It is adhyasaha, bhrantihi. Therefore, what can you become free from, and what should you become free from? Only from Bhranti, from Adhyasa. Freedom from Adhyasa itself is called Amritatvam, eternity. This we have seen. Now, page number 42, we have seen 41. Then, continuity. The Vakya Bhasha continues. Satihi Ajnane. So, there is no rebirth vagaira. Re-embodiment is not possible. Why re-embodiment is not possible? Because the mistake is corrected. When the Bhranti is gone, not only this embodiment becomes falsified, the next embodiment becomes falsified. The previous embodiments also become falsified. The thought that I had many embodiments, and the thought that I have embodiment now. Unless this embodiment is falsified, you can't falsify the prior and the later embodiments. Anyway, satihi ajnana. When ajnanam is there means when adhyasa is there. There ajnanam means what? Adhyasa, nothing else. So when there is adhyasa, satihi ajnane, when one is still under the spell of adhyasa or ajnanam, satihi ajnane, karmani, the actions within the realm of adhyasa, if one is not out of it, then karmani means the good and bad actions. Punya papa karmas. Punya papa karmas are called karmani sharirantaram pratisandadhate. So they connect the jiva to another body. Sharirantaram, another body ko pratisandadhate, connect. The karmas connect the jiva to another body. Pradisandhan करते हैं. Pradisandhan करते हैं means what? उसको connect करते हैं. Whom do they connect? The karmas connect. Who connect? Karmas connect. Whom? Jiva. Karmas connect the jiva to another body if there is still ajnanam. Satihi ajnani. Only when there is ajnanam. When one is still under the spell of adhyasa, then the karmas connect the jiva to another body. Now, Atma avabodhetu, but when there is Atma avabodha, when there is knowledge, when the ajnanam is gone, when the Atma Ajnanam is gone, in the presence of Atma Avabodha, knowledge. That knowledge is nothing but Atma is Brahman. Atma is not Deha. Atma is other than Deha. Not only it is other than Deha, unlike Deha, but it is Brahman, the truth of everything. Iti Avabodhe Sati. Then Sarva Karmarambha Nimitta Ajnana. Sarva karma arambha nimitta ajnana. Ajnanam, which is the reason behind doing all the karmas and enjoying their fruits. This situation of doing karmas. Sarva arambha means, sarva karma means all karma. Arambha means beginning. Doing all the karmas ityartha. Not able to follow? Sarva karma means all karmas, good and bad karmas. Arambha means doing them. When you do all good and bad karmas, then there is phalam also. So this is a situation of doing and a situation of enjoying. There is a situation of doing karmas and there is a situation of enjoying the phala. So this is what is called sarva karma arambha. Now there is a reason behind doing karma, there is a reason behind waiting for the phala. That is called a nimitta. The reason behind doing karma and the reason behind waiting for the phala, sometimes sweet phalam, sometimes the bitter phalam. So one is swadu, the other is called aswadu. So bitter fruit and the sweet fruit hote rehta hai. So some people have series of sweet fruits, some people have series of bitter fruits. Or sometimes alternately, sweet fruit, bitter fruit, sweet fruit, bitter fruit. Sukham, dukkham, sukham, dukkham. There is nobody who is better than the other. Please understand this one thing. There is no jiva. If you take into account all janmas at a time, not even all janmas, 10 janmas of every jiva you take, and then measure how much sukha he had and how much dukkha another person had, it will be equal. It is a question of some people are sukhi now, some people are sukhi later. It is a question of difference in time, but if you try to assess the amount of sukham and the amount of dukkham, you take 10 lives, so you take 10 lives of two individuals and then assess how much sukham he had and how much sukham he had. Both have same sukham, same dukkham. And therefore now here it says, the nimitta for the karma and the nimitta for the phalam. What is it? Ajnana. That is all due to ajnanam. I am a jiva, therefore I want phalam. I am unhappy, therefore I want to be happy. I have no choice over the struggle for happiness. If I want to be happy, then what is the way to become happy? Only through results. Objects. Now how will the objects come? Sense objects, how will they come? Karma karna pade. Therefore, how see, trace the whole thing. I enjoy the karma phalam because I do karma. I do karma because I want phalam. Why do I want phalam? Because I want to be happy. Why do I want to be happy? Because I am a jiva. I am unhappy. Why I am unhappy? Because I am a jiva. Why I am a jiva? Because I don't know that I am Brahman. I am under the spell that I am a jiva. As long as I am under the spell that I am a jiva, I am unhappy. As unhappy, As insecure, I want happiness. And that can come only through objects. Now how will the objects come? Karma. Therefore, as a jiva, I do karma. As a jiva, I enjoy the phalam. This chakkar will continue. And why it is all there, the situation of kartritvam and bhoktritvam? I am a karta, I am a bhokta because I am a jiva, is it not? Without resolving the problem of jivatvam, you can't resolve kartritvam and bhoktritvam. Many people say, don't have kartritvam, don't have bhoktritvam. But as long as you are a jiva, you will have kartritvam, bhoktritvam. Kartritvam, bhoktritvam is not in your hands. When I cease to be a jiva, then I cease to be karta, bhokta. Therefore, I have to settle accounts with myself as the jiva. If I am a jiva, forget about freedom from kartritvam, bhoktritvam. If I am not a jiva, then I am never a karta nor a bhokta. I have to understand how I am not jiva. Don't play up kartritvam, bhoktritvam. Think about jivatvam. Think about jivatvam. Think about jivatvam means think about the falsity of jivatvam and the reality of brahmatvam. You are not a jiva, you are Brahman, truth of everything. This is exactly what is to be thought about. That is the vichara vishayam. And therefore, why I get the kartritvam, bhoktritvam? Because of jivatvam. Then why jivatvam is there? Ajnanam. Ajnanam, bhranti. That is the ajnanam. Sarva karmarambha nimitta ajnana viparita vidya. And what is opposed to this ajnanam? Viparita means oppose. What is unlike? What is opposed to bhranti? What is opposed to wrong knowledge? What is opposed to wrong knowledge? Right knowledge. That is what is called viparita vidya. The vidya that is opposed to wrong knowledge is the bhranti. Vidya itself is agni, the fire of vidya, the fire of knowledge. Viplushtatvat, being burnt, dagdhatvat ityartaha. Viplushtatvat means what? Dagdhatvat. The ajnanam because of which I am a karta, I am a bhokta. The ajnanam because of which I am a jiva. The ajnanam because of which I have series of embodiments. That ajnanam is burnt by its opposite called knowledge. The wrong knowledge is opposed to right knowledge. Therefore, right knowledge burns what? Wrong knowledge. और कुछ नहीं. अज्ञान का अर्थ यही है कि wrong knowledge. It is the wrong knowledge that is otherwise called ignorance. Therefore, viparita vidyagni viplushtatvad dagdhatvat. So this ignorance in understanding the self, the ignorance about the self is destroyed by knowledge. Then, when the ajnanam is burnt, then what will happen? Karmanam anarambhe. When the karmas don't create fruit. Karmanam, karmonka, anarambhe. Karmas don't bring about their fruit. Karmas don't bring about their arambha. They don't bring about, see, karma being done also is called arambha. Karmanam anarambha. Nashkarmam purushoshnuti. The anarambha shabda is used for not doing karma. I don't begin the karma and karma doesn't begin the phalam. So when the karma doesn't begin the phalam, that is also called anarambha. Not able to follow? Follow fast. When I don't begin the karma, that is called anarambha. When the karma doesn't begin the phala, that is also called anarambha. When the ajnanam is destroyed, the karmas don't bear fruit. Why? Because in the destruction of ignorance, karma is also destroyed. When the karma is destroyed, there is no phalam. When there is no phalam, then there is no punarjanma. Re-embodiment is not there. Freedom from re-embodiment, please understand. There is no such thing called freedom from re-embodiment. Freedom from further bondage ityartaha. Re-embodiment is what? Further bondage. What is embodiment? If embodiment is not bondage, then what kind of bondage does one experience? Not able to follow. What other kind of bondage does one experience? Experience the embodiment. Does the embodied is bound, or the embodiment itself is bondage? Embodiment itself is bondage. Minus embodiment, do you have any bondage? Therefore, punarjanma, further embodiment means what? Further bondage. There is no more bondage. Embodiment is nothing but bondage. The Advitiya Atma getting shackled in flesh and bone is what is called bondage. Therefore, here Bhagavan says, Karmanam anarambhe, when the karmas don't bear fruit, amritaha eva bhavanti, they become immortal, they become eternal, they become free from the further bondage. That is what is called amritaha bhavanti. Freedom from bondage now and freedom from bondage forever is what is called amritaha bhavanti. See, if I go to heaven and come back, if I go to heaven, not really knowledge, is within Bhranti. I go to heaven, I am free from the Martya Loka, the dukkhas of this earth. I am free from the problems of this earth when I go to heaven. But am I free forever? No, because after the punya is over, I have to come back. Therefore, it is not amritaha. It is temporary freedom, like you are free in your own pleasures. On Sunday, everybody is free, because everybody is looking for some program. So go on enjoying, go out and enjoy. You are very happy. Just for a few minutes. Again, the same thing begins. Why this particular word, amritaha bhavanti, what does it mean? It means freedom from bondage now and freedom from bondage forever. That is the dhvani. Freedom from bondage forever. Freedom from bondage forever. That is what is called amritaha bhavanti. Why? Because karma is not there. Why karma is not there? Because ajnanam is not there. Why ajnanam is not there? Because there is jnanam. Now, small, towards the end, Shankara says that also. That needs to be said because people will imagine. He says, you say Atma is Nitya Muktaha. Atma is always liberated. Vastutaha it is always liberated. Then why do you say he becomes liberated? Atma is always liberated. That is true. Atma is always liberated. That ever liberated self alone is taken to be bound. The bound self is not taken to be bound. The ever free self is taken to be bound. Now what is next freedom? In fact, the Atma is ever free but mistaken to be bound. Now what is next freedom? Freedom from that bondage. Conclude that notional bondage. Actually it is free, notionally bound. Then what is the next freedom? Freedom from the notion. Freedom from the notion that I am bound alone is called freedom here. Freedom not as the nature of the self. Freedom is the nature of the self. You don't have to accomplish freedom as the nature of the self. Atma is by nature free. You are by nature free, not understood. Factually, Atma is free, notionally bound. That notion is called adhyasa, that notion is called bhranti, that notion is called ajnanam. That notion alone is tackled by Shruti. Shruti does not create freedom for Atma. Shruti only eliminates the notional bondage about Atma. That is said here by Shankara. Shariradi Santana. The series of embodiments. Shariradi Santana. Shariradi means what? Sharira, Manaha ityadi. Sharira, Karma, Phala ityadi. Shariradi. Adipadadi, Karma, Phala also can be taken. Shariradi, Shariram, etc. Santana means what? Flow. The series of embodiments. Avicheda, without being broken. pratisandhanadi, being connected. Jiva is being connected. In the Bhranti, what is the situation? There is a situation of pratisandhanam to series of bodies. Jiva has got pratisandhanam. Pratisandhanam means, what is pratisandhanam? Pratisandhanam khatam ho gaya. Pratisandhanam to abhi to pata hai na. What is pratisandhanam? Pratisandhanam means being connected. Santana means flow. Santana means series. Avicheda means without break. Vicheda means breaking. Avicheda means without breaking. So there is series of embodiments in the Bhranti, and that series is never broken, and Jiva is connected to the bodies in a series without any break. That is the situation of the Jiva. In the Bhranti, what is the situation of the Jiva? Jiva is connected to series of bodies without break. Nahi baat hai. It's not a difficult concept. Jiva in the Bhranti is connected to the series of bodies without break. That means it's perennial, it is continuous. Now from this standpoint, taking into account this situation called the Jiva being connected to the Shariras, series of bodies without any break, Pratisandhanadi apekshaya, from that standpoint. From the standpoint of the situation in the Bhranti, from the standpoint of the situation in the Bhranti. What is the situation in the Bhranti? Being connected to bodies one after the other. Apekshaya, iski apeksha se, now, a person leaves the body and takes another body. Between leaving this body and after leaving this body and taking another body, there is a moksha, there is freedom. What you call death is nothing but freedom. Death is freedom for the time being until you take another body. Not clear. After leaving this body and taking, before you take another body, there is uski apeksha se ye moksha hai, because it is not taking, it is not followed by another bondage. Here what do? In the Bhranti you leave one body and take another body, leave that body, take another body. In knowledge you leave that very situation in which you take another body and leave, take one body and leave another body. Not clear? Before knowledge there is a situation. What is the situation? Leave one body, take another body, leave one body, take another body. Somebody has come. Leave one body and take another body. So now, this is the situation within the Bhranti. Now in knowledge what happens? That very situation in which you take one body and leave that body, take another body, this leaving and taking confusion, that very situation is negated. And what is the situation? Bhranti. The Bhranti, in which situation is the taking and leaving of the bodies. So you don't become free from a given body, you don't become free from the series of bodies, you become free from the very situation in which there can be series of bodies. Is it clear? That is what is called adhyaropita. In jnana, what do you become free from? Not a given body. Adhyaropita, what is imposed upon oneself. The whole Jagat is an imposition upon you. Jagat is in you, the imposition. Like the whole dream is an imposition in the being. Adhyaropita mrityu viyogat. Adhyaropita, what is imposed Mrityu means that death is an upalakshanam for the entire problem. Sukham, dukkham, जीवत्वम, जगत्वम, जो कुछ प्रपंच है, संसार. मृत्यु means what? Sansara. Mrityu means sansara. Sansara, where is it imposed? In the Atma. Viyogat, due to freedom. In knowledge there is a freedom from the very sansara, which is imposed upon the Atma. You become free from the very situation in which the sansara. What is the situation? Prapancham. Embodiment and the Bhranti. Where is Prapancha? Bhranti ke andar hai. Where is embodiment? Bhranti ke andar hai. Where is sansara? Bhranti ke andar hai. Therefore, by negating the Bhranti, the Prapancham is falsified, embodiment is falsified, sansaram is also falsified. That is what is called Viyoga. Mrityu Viyogat, due to the freedom from the Mrityu, meaning sansara, which is nothing but an imposition upon Atma. Adhyaropita Mrityu Viyogat Purvamapi Amritaha Santaha. The Jiva who becomes free, Atma becomes free from the sansara. But before he becomes free from the sansara, was he free or not? Purvamapi, pahle bhi, jnana ke pahle bhi. Purvamapi means what? Jnanat purvamapi. Amritaha santaha, being eternal. Even before knowledge, remaining eternal. Nitya Atma Swarupavatvat. Why do you say that even before knowledge they are eternal? Because Nitya Atma Swarupavatvat. Nitya Atma Swarupavatvat means Jiva being nothing but of the nature of Atma. Jiva is not Jiva, Jiva is Atma. Nitya Atma Swarupavatvat, being of the nature of Nitya Atma. He is Amrita even before the knowledge. Through knowledge, what do? Amritaha bhavanti iti upacharyate. Through knowledge they become amritaha iti upacharyate, aisa kate. Even before knowledge you are eternal. Through knowledge you again become eternal. Twice you become eternal. Remaining eternal, you come to understand that you are eternal. One is being eternal, the other is understanding eternity. To be eternal is not enough. Supposing I am eternal and I don't know that I am eternal, then I have to suffer the non-eternity. That is called Bhranti. Then what does the Jnanam do? Jnanam is nothing but understanding that I am eternal. I don't become eternal because eternal to high. But that is not known. The Shruti comes and tells you are eternal. Eternal means you are Brahman. Therefore, Swarupataha Amritaha, then again Jnanena Amrita Bhavanti iti upacharyate. Before knowledge also, as a fact, one is Amritaha. Through knowledge, he becomes free from notional bondage. Is it clear? That is why they say, so Vimuchanti. So that is Vimuktaha Vimuchante. Vimuktascha Vimuchate. Vimuktaha sanna Vimuchate. विमुक्त होकर विमुक्त होता है. विमुक्त होकर विमुक्त होता है. ये क्या है? मतलब विमुक्त ही है पहले से, लेकिन ज्ञान से विमुक्त होता है नोशनल बॉन्डेज से. लाइक इवन रिमेनिंग 10th man, I become a 10th man. Means what? I did not know. So what does the 10th man gain? Does he become 10th man? No. He only becomes free from the conclusion that he is not the 10th man. Bas. Similarly, Jiva becomes free from the conclusion that he is not Brahman, comes to own up, comes to discover that he is indeed Brahma. That knowledge is also called Mukti. That is the real Mukti. Clear? Please write down. Om Namah Shivaya Gurave Dachinaya. have to give the Vakya Bhasham. Other Bhasham you have seen? You can. Vakya Bhasham you can write. Bhasham हो गया. Just put it briefly. I will explain it in a very brief manner. You can write. Tell me the last sentence. Yeah. And I'll stop right. That was a previous thing, previous sloka. Okay, ab likhiye. For this you can write down Vakya